Dale Zuckerman, and this is Growing Older with Gusto. Each episode, I interview people who are growing older in an inspiring way. Whether you're 30, 60, or 80 years of age, these interviews will help to conquer your fear of aging. Please subscribe to our channel and check out our website at www.growingolderwithgusto.com. Today, we have the queen of reinvention as a guest. Her name is Sheila Stone, and she never lets any stone go unturned. Now, I have to say, as I was reading over this, I had no clue that I was making a bad pun when I wrote this, but it is true. Her passion is helping women change their lives after the age of 50. How great is that? And listen to how she has done it herself and discover how anything is possible if you want to grow older with gusto. So let's get to it. Welcome to the show, Sheila.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. And thank you for that lovely introduction.
Oh, you're welcome. It's all true. Sheila, I know you have a great backstory on how you got to where you are today. Could you tell our listeners in a nutshell how you stepped into this path of reinvention?
Well, it started when I had a year of hell, which so many times that's what starts somebody on the path. So a lot of bad things had happened. I'd lost my job. I had, my ex-husband found the love of his life. That was fun. And my kids grew up, the nerve. So basically, a lot of it was the empty nest. My sons were having their own adventures, and that was great, and I was happy for them. But I didn't feel like mine were over yet. I felt like mine had been pushed aside, and now was the time. And that's what I did.
That's wonderful. So talk about how women can get out of their comfort zone and grow older in a positive and productive way.
I think one of the first things that we as women need to do is to not buy in to the cultural, societal fact that older women are not interesting, that they're kind of sad and pathetic. Older women are amazing. We have done amazing things. Just by being older, we've got experiences. We have done great things, and we need to embrace that and realize that what's coming up next, life isn't a dress rehearsal. And I know that's kind of a cliche, but it's true. This is it. This is our life. Do you want to just go, well, I'm going to sit here and do, read my books, and there's nothing wrong with reading books. But if you want to do something and you want to move out, you need to just go for it.
Somebody just sent me a really interesting TED Talk, and I'll send it to you. They talked about what really creates longevity, and they found that, yes, diet and exercise are all important, but the most important thing is your social connections and talking to people, not just your loved ones, but maybe your doorman or someone checking you out at the grocery store. How important to you have you seen these social connections be as you're growing older?
Oh my gosh, so important. It's, for one thing, if you meet other women and you see what they've done, you go, well, that's not exactly what I want to do, but I could do this.
Right.
So you kind of realize, I have a friend who is in her mid-80s. She's a stand-up comedian. She started when she was 71.
Wow. Good for
she
her.
Oh gosh, she's amazing. She's traveled all over, and I interviewed her for my dissertation, my master's dissertation. If any woman on earth has a right to be a bitter old crone, it's her. She came from a very bad place, dysfunctional family and all of that. And she isn't. She just exudes love. She exudes happiness. Everybody is drawn to her. And when I think about, I'm starting to push 70, I think, yeah, but look at Lynn Ruth. And I go, yeah.
See, so that's the whole point of this podcast. That's great.
Yeah.
She's a great example. So, if you had to give 3 tips to women who want to sort of reimagine their lives, what would those 3 tips be?
I think the first would be dream big, but be realistic and be flexible.
Okay.
And make sure it's your dream, not, well, I want to do this because I wanted to when I was 7. You know,
Right.
things can change. So make sure it's something that really, really just excites you. Um, and, some things may not be realistic to do as we get older.
Hmm.
Like if I wanted to be a professional ballet dancer,
Or
no matter how hard I train,
may not happen.
may not happen. But if I love dancing, I can still do that. So you can adapt things. The second would be don't let anybody else shut you down. Not your friends, not your kids, nobody. Don't let them suck the joy out of your life. And then thirdly, don't be defined by your age. Gosh,
Tell us more about that.
well, like I said, I look at Lynn Ruth. She's not defined by her age. She just finished a Southeast before COVID hit. She just finished a Southeast Asia tour. You know?
I think that's fabulous. Fabulous.
So don't be defined by it. If you feel like you can do something and you have the opportunity to do it, don't think, yeah, if this had happened maybe 10 years ago, I could have done it. No, do it.
Sheila, you seem like somebody who really picked herself up and did so many different things, amazing things. There are people who have trouble. They reach like a roadblock. They can't seem to move forward. They're mired in the mud. And one of the things I've found with this podcast that's important to grow older with gusto from people who've gone before is finding purpose in your life. So, any advice for people who maybe don't have the skill set that you have, but still are listening and really want to move forward with gusto?
So, well, I think that one of the things that, okay, because I went back to school when I was 48. I
Amazing.
didn't have a bachelor's degree. And when I started, I found that although I had a couple of certificates, nothing transferred. So I started at ground zero. I was a beginning freshman at 48. And that was, it was a little bit hard, thinking, oh. But then I thought, well, if I just keep moving, you just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And, I did earn a bachelor's degree in 4 years. And then a couple of years later, I went back and I earned a master's degree. The hardest thing about going back to school was making the decision that, okay, math, hello. I had to take 3 math classes to get to the math class I needed to take in order to transfer.
Wow. You really
And
persevered.
I was like, gonna do it. And I had to decide that I was willing to do that. I was willing to work that hard. That's a decision you have to make for yourself. Nobody can make that for you. But I thought, people graduate from university all the time. I mean, older people do.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't the oldest person in my graduating class. And the thing is, if other people can do it and you're willing to work, why not you?
Okay, so you had that inner strength that propelled you. Maybe, who knows, maybe it was a reaction to circumstances also.
Oh, yeah. It was definitely a reaction to circumstances.
Let's talk a little bit about ageism. It seems to be a word that gets tossed around a lot today. How do you recommend combating ageism?
First off,
Whether you're
I
male
think,
or female. So.
oh, absolutely. First off, focus on the positive. As we get older, we have experience. We can put things into perspective. When you're a teenager and something goes wrong, it is the frickin' end of the world.
Right.
When you're older, you go, yeah, okay, it's a bummer, but this too shall pass. And we also can clarify what we really want. Our desires become a lot more clear. And then don't buy into the cultural limitations. Don't buy into the thing that a woman, and this is mainly aimed at women, but a woman is defined by how pretty she is or how thin she is or things like that. Those are cultural limitations. Don't buy into it. Staying young is not the be all to end all.
Not always easy.
No, well, the thing is, you can't. We think, oh, well, yeah, but look at those actresses. They can stay young. And even if we don't think that through, we're not seeing what's behind them doing looking the way they look. And of course, even if you're an actress and you're famous and you have lots of money, things can go horribly wrong if you try to work at that too hard. I live in Los Angeles.
So
I
you
know.
only too well.
I have seen. Yes.
So Sheila, tell us some of your success stories in helping to jumpstart lives of women as they grow older. I'm sure you have some great stories.
I have a few. Well, I had a friend who she was coming out of, she had had a very bad accident at work and her pelvis was crushed and it was very, very bad. And by the time I met her, she was pretty much recovered from that. But she was still struggling. She was in the middle of litigation. And we started, she started working with me. She saw me do presentations at libraries and stuff, which is so much fun. And she decided, well, I have a background in writing. I can help people write, do journal things, write their own journals or write resumes or stuff. Well, she's now doing that and she loves it. She gives presentations, or did. Everything has ended, at
Yeah.
least temporarily. But she was giving presentations. She was reaching out. She was touching other people, not just women and men who had to, say, change jobs. When you're older and you're redoing a resume, it can be a little bit daunting. It's like, I've done all this cool stuff. How do I put it in? So that's one. And I think one of the things I love most, because my company is travel.
We'll
And
get to
I
that
love,
in a minute.
I
do
well, I was
too.
just going to say, though, I love taking women to places they wouldn't normally go and to meet the locals there.
Mm-hmm.
So that is just seeing them experience, seeing them connect, not only with the locals, but with each other. Oh, that is like the best thing in the world.
Yes. Travel is fabulous. So tell us a little bit about how you started your travel business and what it is.
My travel business, I actually have two of them, which I would love to merge into one, and they just don't seem to overlap enough. The first one was Britain Your Way Tours, because I am an unabashed, unapologetic Anglophile. And that was a lot of fun. I started that after I got my master's, I came back to the US and I could not get a job. So for over a year,
Remind me, your master's was in
cultural anthropology.
Okay.
So over a year, I was staying with a friend who her house was she was more of an acquaintance, really. I was staying with her. Her house was being foreclosed on. She had put everything into storage except for 2 beds. And she worked nights, so I never saw her. It was in a place where I didn't know anybody. And I lived like that for 9 months. Every day going to Starbucks, because for the price of $2, I could stay on their internet all day and try to find a job. So that wasn't, you go, wow, look, I've done all of this. Look, nobody cares. And that was in 2010 and 2011. So that was a time when there wasn't, and that was when things were really bad job-wise. And that really made a difference in how I view things. And while I was struggling, my sons said, well, Mom, you love to travel. Why don't you start a travel company? And I got one job, which was great. And then right before my probation was up, they said, look, it isn't anything to do about how well you work. We really love what you're doing, but we've decided we can't afford to have you. So goodbye. And that's one of those things. It's like, yeah, that really doesn't make me feel any better. uh, so that happened a second time with another job. And at that point, I went, you know what? Having my own business cannot be any more unstable than this. So that was when I really went for it. And I love it more than I thought I would.
So are you put together tours to unusual places, or what's?
I put together tours, and I lead the tours.
Okay.
I also do private people. I've done that too. But my main thing is I create a tour. They're small group. We go on the tour. I lead them. I try to use local guides as much as I can, because no matter how much research I do, I'm not going to be a local. I'm a local in LA. I am not a local in London. And so I try to use locals also because that makes it more fun. And then my second company is Women Sharing Cultures, and that was to allow me to go further afield and also to focus on women's tours. And those tours definitely are focused on meeting local women, in addition to the usual sightseeing things. And that is just a great deal of fun.
What's the most unusual place you've traveled to?
Well, we've gone to the Bayou Country of outside of New Orleans, and that was wonderful. We had a potluck with literally, there was, someone was Cajun, someone was Creole, someone was Native American, someone was African American. Women are fantastic. It was a potluck. Everybody brought food. Literally, I didn't have to go, okay, now women, we're going to talk and really connect. No, you just step back and women just go for it. It was great. The other thing was in Japan. Now, neither of these are horribly, horribly exotic places, but, getting below that touristy thing.
Right. It's not easy.
Well, I'm lucky because my sons both went on exchange to Japan. We hosted Japanese students, and my undergraduate thesis was meeting and interviewing Japanese women, midlife women in Japan. Wow. So I have a lot of connections there, because it would be very hard if you didn't. They're very friendly people, but they're not Greeks. So they're not going to grab you and drag you off into their house.
That's great. That's great. Well, I'm out of questions. Do you have any other stories or comments you want to make? Or,
one of the things, and this is just saying women are incredible. Like on the last tour I did, one of the women, she had some mobility issues. Not bad. And I don't mind. If someone has mobility issues, as long as I know, we can work around it. And there was another woman on the tour who was a younger woman. And if we had stairs to go down, she always made sure she gave her arm, and she'd kind of, walk down with her. Mm-hmm. And she was a big Samoan lady, and it just made me so happy. And to see the women connecting, to know that they're still friends, that they keep in touch, the Japanese women and the American women I took. Oh, that just is, it just makes me happy. I love having people connect, especially women. When we connect, boy, we connect.
That's true. That's true. Well, I think travel and meeting new people, as we said earlier, these social connections are so important. And I think that your agency and your ideas are fabulous. So Sheila, if somebody wants to reach out to you or learn more about your travel businesses, how do they do that?
Well, I would be delighted. The Women Sharing Cultures is literally www.womensharingcultures with an S, mm-hmm. not culture, singular.com.
Okay.
The British one is www.britainyourwaytours, plural.com. And I can be reached at Tours by Sheila, and that's
Okay.
SHEILA,
Okay.
at gmail.com.
Great. Great. Thank you so much. It's been fun chatting with you, and I'm sure our listeners will really enjoy everything you had to say today. So thanks for your time. Really appreciate
Thank
it.
you. It's been a lot of fun, and I've loved meeting you.
Oh, it was. Please subscribe to our channel and check out our website at www.growingolderwithgusto.com.